Okay, so you need your coffee paper, you need a ruler. Make sure on your ruler, guys, check it out. Make sure you can actually see all the marks and the measurements on there, because some of those marks on the rulers are kind of fading away. That's not a very reliable ruler if that's the case. So make sure you can see your measurements, and then you need a 4H pencil. We're using a 4H pencil because we don't want our drawing to show up super dark on our paper, because especially if we make mistakes, which we have learned that in the process of drawing, the beginning part of your drawing is basically all wrong, and you're going to be playing around with it to figure out how to fix it up. So you're going to be doing a lot of erasing, and if you're not doing a lot of erasing, you're doing something wrong. But we want those pencil lines to be nice and light on our paper, so that way when we erase them, we actually don't see them any longer. The worst thing you can do is use a dark pencil and press really hard into your paper, and then try to erase those lines, and then you still see those bad lines. We don't want that to happen. We want to erase all of that stuff and have it disappear completely. So whenever you're doing a beginning drawing, 4H pencil, and you're going to draw very lightly. So what we're going to do is we need to find our PowerPoints using the rule of thirds. So again, we're going to divide our composition in thirds. I'm going to put my ruler right up here at the top of my paper. So everybody go ahead and do that. And make sure, again, you're reading your ruler correctly. Some of you guys who have the acrylic clear rulers, you'll notice that the measurement does not start at the end of the ruler. You need to match up the edge of your paper to where it starts with 0. Okay? So make sure you're using your ruler correctly. Now the length or the width of our paper here is 16 inches. Okay? You cannot divide 16 equally into thirds. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it so that we open up the middle. They're back there on the back desk. If you guys need a 4H pencil or an eraser, they're there on that back desk. So, okay. All right, so what we're going to do, because we can't divide 16 evenly up into thirds, we're going to mark right here at 5 inches. So I measured 5 inches from the corner of my paper to the inside. I made a mark. Now I'm going to be making my mark kind of dark so you guys can see it on the screen. You should be doing this very, very lightly. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to mark 5 inches from the right corner. Make a mark again right there. So 5 inches from the right corner to the inside. And what that will do is it'll open up our middle a little bit more. Okay? I'm going to do the same thing down here at the bottom. I'm going to kind of move my camera. There we go. So I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom. 5 inches now from the bottom left corner to the inside, mark it. 5 inches from the bottom right corner to the inside, I'm going to mark it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler. I'm going to put my ruler right up against those 2 marks that I made, and I am going to draw a very, very light, barely there line. So draw it very, very lightly down, because when we're finished with our drawing, we want to be able to erase that line so we cannot see it. So you really don't need to put any pressure on your pencil whatsoever. Just drag it across the paper, and it'll give you just enough that you can see where it's at. So I'm going to do this on this mark right here. Again, very, very lightly, no pressure whatsoever. There you go. And then after I'm done with that, I'm going to turn my paper now this way. So now that it's tall. So this dimension here, it's 12 inches. We can divide that up equally into thirds. So 12 divided by 3 is what? 4. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my ruler right up here. Again, those of you who are using those clear acrylic rulers, make sure you're using that ruler correctly. I'm going to mark every 4 inches. So I'm going to mark here at 4, and I'm going to mark here at 8. I'm going to do the same thing down here at the bottom of my paper. I'm going to mark it at 4, and I'm going to mark it at 8. And then I'm going to, again, use my ruler to connect those 2 marks. And are we going to draw this line light or dark? Light. Don't put any pressure down either on the pencil, because if you do put a lot of pressure on the pencil, you're just going to dig your lines into your paper and you still won't get rid of them. So connecting this one also too. So now I have found my PowerPoint lines. Okay? So what we're going to do today, we're going to take all those things that we learned about composition, and we're going to start our first drawing. Okay? I'll actually talk to you guys about the requirements of the project tomorrow. But we're going to start our first drawing, and what I want you guys to do, I want you to make this first drawing about the size of your hand. So if you open up your hand, okay, put it on your paper, and you can even, too, you can choose to put your bike on one of your 4 PowerPoints. So you can go ahead and figure out where you want your focal point to be. Okay? So figure out what PowerPoint you want to put it on. Open up your hand like this. That's about the size of your first drawing. And we're going to draw the whole bike. Okay? Now, when you do this also, too, remember what I said. We want to create a lot of diagonal lines. So you don't want to get yourself in a situation where any part of that bike is perfectly vertical or horizontal. So when you draw, don't put your paper, and you guys are going to use drawing boards, don't put your paper perfectly straight and vertical or horizontal on your board. I want you to put it at an angle like this so that when you do your drawing will be diagonal to the edges of the paper. Does that make sense? So never put your paper like this, straight, this way or this way. Always have it at an angle somehow so that whatever you're drawing will be at an angle on the paper. Okay? So that's what we're going to do to start. And that's it.